Coming up on OTH, Raymond and I discuss patch 11.24, TSM's announced LCS roster, and cover the last bits of news for most likely our last episode of the year. We hope you enjoyed this episode of On the Hunt. Welcome everybody to episode 40 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. I'm your co-host Chris, aka Mr. Butterfingers. Because last week I slipped up pretty fucking bad, and that's why there's no episode 39. And then just don't ask about it.
One day.
Joining me, maybe one day the lost episodes will come out.
Yeah. Chris will be able to handle the loss, and we can all talk about it in the future, but not this week.
Yeah, just not right now. It's too soon. And joining me on this episode is our other co-host Raymond. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, dude. I actually had my holiday party for work last week, and so I went out in the world, saw real people. It was kind of crazy.
Is that the first time you've ever met them?
A lot of them. There's been a few people that I've met at. We've had a couple of meetings that have been in person, but for the most part, that's the first time. Yeah.
That is pretty litty titty, if I may say so. I probably can't say that, but it's my podcast, so I can say that.
That's true. There's nothing stopping you, really.
Nice. Any gaming lately?
Just been playing some League, not a ton. But yeah, I've got some games in, just a few here and there, some spicy ARAMs. I swear, dude, we
That's
had
good.
I was playing ARAM, I think it was Saturday or Sunday, where I played with some buddies and we had 4 or 5 games in a row that went 25 minutes or 30 minutes long on ARAM, and I'm like, what the hell is happening?
That's brutal.
Just absolute slobber knockers.
Yeah, I've been doing some League of Legends gaming myself. I played a couple Lee Sin games, both regular regular draft and also spellbook. It was pretty fun. I feel like I'm getting back into the groove of things there. And then played a butt ton of ARAMs in the last week as well. So yeah, I've been spending a lot of time playing League recently. Actually, found some new people to play with, and so it's been pretty fun.
Nice.
Been enjoying the new season, some of the new items, and still getting used to them as well. But other than that, pretty having some fun with it.
Yeah, are you how good are you at least in is that one of your babies, your go-to if you get locked jungle or what?
Oh well, yeah. If I get locked jungle and I'm not feeling Sejuani or for some reason that game, yeah, I would say Lee Sin and Rek'Sai are my babies in that sense. But I don't. I'm not the most cracked Lee Sin player either, or it's not riding a bike to me or anything. It's I still struggle with it sometimes. So I would say I'm a 6.5, maybe 7 on a good day Lee Sin player. But
Okay.
I have fun is what matters.
That's true. Yeah, I'm with you there. A few of my buddies on our Discord, I'd always make a joke that it's I'm the best Lee Sin in the server, but I'm fucking garbage at Lee Sin. Just that everybody else is way worse. So every once in a while, I have to break it out and just prove to them, I'm pretty good. I'm the best Lee Sin
Yeah,
in that server.
you got some fingers here.
That's it. Yeah.
For sure, dude.
Donkey in though. Take every Q. You fight early game. If we're not level 6 yet, I'm scrapping with the enemy jungler, guaranteed.
If I am level 6, I'm scrapping with enemy jungler, please.
That's also true too, but
I'll scrap anybody most of the time. Okay, for this week, I'm thinking we can just dive into patch 11.24. That came out last week, and we just kind of skipped it because that episode doesn't exist. And you and I had discussed this patch with the preview with some changes before, and then so pretty much this is just going to be the first patch after the release of the preseason. As we predicted, it's just going to be a couple of nerfs for a lot of the stuff that they introduced here. Yeah, mostly a lot of nerfs. Was there anything in the patch that kind of caught your attention?
Yeah, I mean, I think we touched on it when we saw the preview, but the Aximark nerf I think is nice, and also the nerfs that they gave to Shattered Queen and just generally it's Cosmic Drive. A lot of the things that we're seeing a lot of presence, obviously, even though it was just the first patch, it was everybody knew look, these are kind of nuts. So I think those are the main item nerfs that I liked seeing. What about you? Anything stick out at first glance?
Yeah, other than all of the changes that they've made to the new items like Cosmic Drive, Even Shroud, Crown, just the general nerfs to these new items, the first balance change that they're getting. that those all kind of caught my attention to see, how they were performing according to the data, and then how they're adjusting it accordingly. So that's just kind of interesting to for me to see. I'm also kind of interested in the Camille nerf that they've done here as well. Less damage on the W, and then higher cooldown on the hook shot at later levels. It's
Yeah.
kind of interesting to me that like Camille is like top three top laner champions just in and out over the course of her release.
Hmm.
And I think I saw somebody's like top lane a tier list lately. I think it was today or yesterday, and they rated her like number one in the S tier. So it's pretty. I really like Camille, so I might be biased. I like playing Camille,
Yeah.
even though I'm also a bad Camille player, but like six and a half, maybe seven on a good day Camille player.
But yeah, that chip just has so much stuff. It's like I'm not surprised kind of to see her still still be or stick around at the top of the table. Just so flexible with hook shot and everything, and the true damage like she's a real like legitimate scaling top lane, you know? Like once you get to the point where you're getting the 600-700 true damage Qs, there's nobody that can 1v1 you if you're playing it smart and not just like running straight into them, and even then sometimes when you run straight into them it's good. So you just get a lot of flexibility in how you play out side lanes and the whole game, really.
Big yeppers. Yeah, and her ulti just feels really good as well. So make sure people don't get away. And it's always super satisfying when you catch somebody like mid flash and you ulti them beforehand. So you follow them like the whole way.
Yeah.
Feels pretty good. But other than that, dude, like nothing else really interests me in this patch. Like there's some fun stuff like Twitch and Kale. They now scale off their attack range, which is fun. I don't know if it really matters.
I think it's good
Um,
for lethal tempo, right? Like that makes sense.
I think that's
I
the whole
can see how
point.
that's like
Yeah,
weird, yeah. And
yeah.
that's like the only thing that changes. I mean, other than rapid fire cannon, that's the only thing that's ever changed range, right? So it makes sense that they had probably forgotten to address it.
Oh yeah, that does make sense.
And then the
But
Ivern change, dude. Ivern finally gets to farm Krugs, not waste gold.
I've actually never played Ivern on a Summoner's Rift game ever in my life before. It's
Really?
never interested me.
Wow. I think I played him some when he first came out. I just remember doing like the classic Ivern, like you tap your blue and then just go straight to their like red or like opposite, and just steal their buff and then go right back and go back to your normal jungling. I remember when he came out just like being like, dude, this is such a fun invade, my favorite play pattern. Like I'm just gonna do this every game. I don't play it much anymore though.
Yeah, I've just never been Ivern curious, I guess. Or I've never like looked at that champ. Like I have no idea how Daisy works to this day because I've never played Ivern or
Damn.
looked into it.
Don't let her hang out. If you have to fight against him, dude, it's like Yorick's maiden. Like that's the important half of the champion. The other half doesn't really matter.
Good to know, dude. I usually just ignore her for good or worse. How about the Debonair skins? Do you fuck with any of them? We've got Debonair,
Uh,
Master Yi, LeBlanc, Malzahar, Brand, Draven, and or wait, Zed and Leona.
yeah, I think the only one that I've like noticed in a game yet, like I haven't played with any of them. I think I saw somebody play like against the Debonair Draven skin, and I actually kind of thought that looked pretty cool, but I also didn't see a ton of it. But I don't know. I'm not like super intrigued by this skin line at all.
That's fair. I think the champions that they picked for this skin line, I think they all kind of look nice in that aesthetic. But other than that, but yeah, they don't really jump out to me as like, oh, I gotta have that one,
It's
unless
weird.
the like effects are really nice or something.
Yeah, it's a little weird, like even just looking at the splash arts, I feel like it's hard to tell. Like, I don't know, like they don't look like what I expect the champs to look like. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like the skin line seems very like warping almost. Like if you like the Debonair skin, then you probably like any of the given champs, right? Or any of these given skins. But
Uh huh.
I don't see like how like I look at the Zed skin and even then it doesn't feel like if I'm a Zed player, does this like look like Zed to me? Is this like what I like about Zed? But it's like if I like Debonair, then I might like this skin for Zed. But I don't know. Like Master Yi doesn't look like Master Yi. I feel like LeBlanc is the one that it fits the most. And then everybody else I'm kinda like, I don't know, they look weird.
Yeah, I like LeBlanc and how it looks for Brand as well. But I definitely agree on your point about Zed of like, it just looks like It looks like somebody told the artist to like make one for Zed. You will make one for Zed.
Yeah, I mean
And
they
they're
just
like,
all have
yeah.
suits. It's like, oh yeah, I put another guy in a suit, right? And he's like, okay, but hold on, this guy has to have like the blades on his hands. He's like, okay. But I mean, I think they still, I mean, they look nice, but just I don't know, a little weird to me at least.
That's fair. And then as a fellow Ari simp since 2011, I bought her with RP. Like that's how serious I am.
Damn. Okay.
I'm enjoying all of the Ari-versary chromas as well. And that's
Yeah.
yeah,
What are
pretty
they?
much the,
Are they just like get a little recolor? Okay, I like that. I see. I see you.
yeah, just some recolors. Some of them are like decent recolors as well, so I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Anything for more Ari.
You're the reason that this game still exists. The
I
Ari
think so.
Sims.
I think I paid for like an extra year of development. I'm the reason that there is a team to work on the league client. It's not a big team, but there's people on that
Yeah, they
team.
don't get paid a lot, but they do get paid, and it's from Chris.
Yeah, and that's why the league client takes so long to be revamped. All right, so that's pretty much it for patch 11.24 and what was interesting with that. Finally, we get to hear back from TSM about what their roster is looking like. For a long time, we knew that top lane and jungler were confirmed, and then news about Tactical came out about a month ago now
Yeah.
as well. And then now they're adding two new LDL players, two youngins, 20 years old for mid lane, 19 years old for support as well. And I'm really excited because I don't know if you know this, but I took 3/4 of Mandarin at the University of California, Davis, and so I'm very excited to explain to you how to pronounce the names of these players.
Ooh, okay, I'm excited too. But I did know that you took Chinese, if you remember, that we had a mutual friend in one of your Chinese classes.
I don't remember that.
I would say his name, but I'm worried that it would get us in trouble on the podcast. So we'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay. I'm not sure what that means either, but okay.
Anyway, go ahead. Tell me how to say the new TSM mid laner and support names.
Okay, we can start with support because that one's easy. So, hailing from Fun Plus Blaze, the smaller sister team of Fun Plus Phoenix, is Shen Yi. It's like it's like if in game if a Shen has no used his taunt, you would say Shen has no
Shen
E,
Yi.
right?
Right.
And so you're
Okay.
saying that if his taunt cooldown is up, then you would say like, oh, watch for Shen E or something like that. And so that's how you
Okay.
say this guy's name,
Okay.
or that's how you pronounce Y I in like the Chinese language is like E,
Okay.
like double E, I guess. So Shen E is the
Shen Yi.
support's name.
Okay.
And
And
then
it's like
for
2 syllables, right? It's not just like Shenny.
yeah, it's two very distinct syllables.
Okay.
And then for the mid lane, hailing from Thunder Talk Gaming Young, sister team of Thunder Talk Gaming, which is a sick name. I've just never heard of it until today.
Is Thundertalk Gaming like an LPL team, or is that just
Dude,
like
it must be an LPL team, and if you, I don't know, if, like, don't they have like 20 teams in the LPL in any given season? I'm kind of joking and
maybe?
exaggerating, but I think they
Okay,
do.
actually. Yeah. Okay.
And so I think this is one of the ones that no one just ever talks about because they're not like top 10.
Right. Okay.
But I think there is like, some absurd amount, like 14 LPL teams or something like that. And Thunder
Yeah.
Talk Gaming is one of them. And then this guy comes from Thunder Talk Gaming Young,
Sounds
which
good.
is a good
He's a
name.
little baby. Yeah.
And so this guy's name is Caedrel, which is like,
Okay.
so it's not something weird, like it's not like Kea Duo or something like
Right.
that, which would be like a really white person's way to say it. So one more time, it's like it's Caedrel,
Dwell.
like yeah, and then the last part Dwell, it's like you're saying like Dwayne the Rock Johnson, like Dwayne Dwell. It's like
Right.
that kind
Right.
of, and what it means in Mandarin, it means like more cute. It's like if you were trying to say like I'm more cute than Raymond, that's what his name means. It's like it's like it just means like it's more cute or something like that. And so
Okay.
I already know he's gonna get memed for that name. Of like if he ever like loses mid lane, you could just be like, oh, well at least he's more cute or something like that. And so that's what his name means. And
It's
so
better than Tukui's name. So
I don't know. Could be better. Could be worse. But those are, so that's it. Caedrel and Shen Yi, both coming from the LDL to play for TSM's mid lane and support. I think I saw some people commenting on Reddit saying something like, "Oh, we can't flame them if we know nothing about them,"
Yeah,
which is
true.
the exact way that I feel actually. So, what do you think about these two new additions to the TSM roster? They did say a while back when Bjergsen was released that they're going to try to do something a little bit more experimental with their roster. Or, was it experimental or like developmental?
Development. Yeah,
Okay,
developmental, I think was how they worded it.
I believe you. Yeah, I think I recall that now as well. But yeah, and it looks like this is the direction that they're going. That after about I think it's a month of like boot camping out in Asia land, this is the results that they've gotten.
Hey, you said it, not
Yeah.
me, dude.
So yeah, what do you think about the TSM roster? Huni, Spica, mid lane, tactical, and support.
I think I think it's a pretty good roster. It's hard to give them any kind of like high hopes right off the bat, like just because you don't know so much about Kaidua and Sheni. But like, it's I would say it's a promising like way to go for it, right? Like, if you if you have faith like in the TSM management, which probably a lot of people don't after how the off season has kind of gone down for the last couple of years. But like, if you do have trust in like Parth and Peter Zhang and the guys in charge like there, then I think the way that this offseason has been handled like would give a good amount of confidence on like these are guys that you should be excited for. Pulling rookies out of the LPL, which is or the LDL really, which is like not a region that the LCS is really imported, not a region like that the LEC is imported either, right? Like that's like an untapped market for Western teams. Plus, like we already know how good the LPL has shown like themselves to be as a league the last or as a region the last couple of years. So like to pull rookies out of there seems like a smart decision, right? Like there's no way that there aren't guys there that are, you know, have top level like team potential. It's just that they're on small teams or like academy teams in a league that has the best talent in the world kind of thing, so it's hard to break through. So I think it's a good look for TSM in general. And Spica and Tactical, both good LCS players, proven to be like good top five at least in their roles, right? Spica won MVP last split, and Huni's still a good player. I feel like he's like almost the odd one out like on this roster, right? Like he doesn't speak Mandarin. He's not like a zoomer, like speaking in tactical. Like I feel like he's a little out of place, but hopefully, he can act as like a solid veteran. Has been to Worlds, is like has accomplished a lot of things. Already. Like hopefully, he's a good veteran presence on the team.
That's funny that you put him in that light of like, oh, Huni is like the oldest one by a long shot or something like
And
that.
he
I'm
is, right? Like I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how old he is. I'm sure he started when he was pretty young, but he's got to be pretty old.
I don't think he's older than like 23. Like I think he's like absurdly young.
Oh yeah, he is 23. Jeez,
Oh
he's about
really?
to turn.
Okay.
His birthday's on Christmas. He'll turn 24 on Christmas.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, for a player who, debuted and as far as we know back in 2015, I think he was
Yeah,
playing
he's
even
been around
before
for
that as
6 years.
well.
Yeah.
Like yeah, he's absurdly young actually.
But I mean, come on, in league terms, right? 23, like you're past your prime, dude. You're
Oh
way
yeah, he's
past prime.
grandpa. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, so he's definitely veteran status, like you were saying. Um, yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think it's cool that TSM has reached out to dig into the LPLs and that whole leagues and ecosystems talent as well. Because especially over the years, we've seen people draw rookies and I would say mysterious talent from different parts of the world, like Korea, like even France with Ica, um, even the OPL. We were getting a lot of talent just drawn all over the world, but not a lot of people have been importing players from the LPL in recent years. Honestly, I can't even remember anybody who has come from the LPL in like the last few years or so.
Sword Art's probably like the only one that really counts, right? But he was not even like he was only LPL for a year. So,
Yeah, I think Sword Art. Well, I think Maple and Sword Art played in Suning for a couple of years
okay.
because yeah, I think they left Flash roles for Suning for in like 2019, I believe. But anyways, yeah, I think yeah. But other than Sword Art, yeah, I can't name you one who is like I can remember off the top of my head in like the last 5 years or so, when it comes to LPL or even Taiwanese supports or I mean imports.
Right.
So I think that's really exciting for the league of like we meme it, but it's funny and but it's I think it's cool that we're gonna have like Korea 9 team speaks Mandarin, and Team LEC Liquid over there. Like I think this is we're bringing worlds we're bringing worlds home, so to speak, and I think that's going to be really fun for the LCS next year. Um, More fun than even Bjergsen being back. Like if Bjergsen didn't come back, like it could still be really fun. If Bjergsen was Niski instead, like I wouldn't be mad. I think that team would still be really good, and I would still
Or
be really
Jensen
excited for
too,
them.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, or Jensen too. I don't know why I said that. Um, so I don't know how bullish I'm feeling about the TSM team, and I actually kind of hesitate to put them in top five or top four. I mean, maybe I could put them at fifth place, just not knowing anything about the mid lane or support. But
Yeah.
I think it's fun, and I think that's great that they dug into that talent pool in that side of the world, and that they were able to scout these people. And TSM is probably the only team in the world, or I mean, in the LCS that could even begin to have the conversations of like recruiting these players or even getting them to even thinking about crossing the world and going to the LCS in this environmental climate and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's a good point that like, having like Spica who's bilingual and, Peter Zhang and like they definitely had like the best in for like attracting Chinese talent. And I think that like it'll be interesting to see how they're able to actually like develop these players now because that was part of when Parth was talking about doing a developmental team, right? Like, um, not it's not like developmental like oh we're pulling three guys out of collegiate that like are probably only at challenger level at best or whatever, right? Like these are guys that are like have been in the professional ecosystem at least, right? Like they're good league players. Like you have to be good at that point to be in like any level of the Chinese infrastructure, I'd bet. But like having like unopinionated players basically, right? Like these are kids at best that have, not played league at a super high level, at a worlds level, like anything like that. And like you don't have a lot of like inbuilt tendencies or opinions about the game presumably, right? And then like they've brought in Chawi and like the existing staff that they still have to like be able to mold a team out of the existing parts that they've already had, right? Like Speak and Huni played in a system last year that presumably will, you know, carry over to this year, but they get to teach new players rather than try and integrate older players into it, right? So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and it will be interesting to see how the new players are going to shape the team as well. And I think that TSM Legends probably might not be as fun anymore because it's just going to be like all Hoonies Pika tactical content.
That's
Maybe
still
not.
fun. What do you mean?
Actually, yeah, that just sounds like a lot of fun. But it's definitely going to be a bit different. And then also they also announced. Oh, and another thing is that Caedrel and Shen Yi they both have 3-year contracts. I saw that on like LOL fandom or something like that. So I don't know. I just thought that was a cool point to point out. Well, Tactical has a 2-year contract to my understanding with TSM until
they didn't
2020.
they didn't like buy out Tactical, right? Or maybe I think they did, right? I
You
think he
know, I
was
don't think
so
so. I
it
think
probably was like
Tactical
an
was free
existing one.
agent.
Really?
I don't quote me on that, but I thought that he was a free agent or would become a free agent.
Maybe.
Maybe I'm
I
wrong
mean, it would
about that.
almost make sense that he was like. I mean, he was a rookie when he started, right? It would have been like probably like a 2-year contract for a rookie. But yeah, the 3-year contract like kind of doesn't surprise me for the Chinese players. Like that's I think to some degree like especially after the sword art situation, right? Like I would definitely think like look, I'm down to go to NA and play for TSM, but I kind of don't want to get fucked over, even though like technically getting a 3-year contract doesn't save you or anything, but there's some level of commitment from the org, right? Like in offering a longer contract that gives you a sense of stability. Probably affects like visa stuff too, but maybe not.
Oh yeah, I have no idea how that would come into play with work visas or gaming visas or however that kind of stuff works. And then the TSM roster also announced their full coaching staff as well, which is not as big as some other coaching staffs. We already knew that LCS head coach was going to be Chowie. They do still have Peter Zhang over there. His title is head of player development, but I believe he's also the academy coach in addition to that. They still have K's, LCS strategic coach and head scout. And then I think you and I talked a while ago that they released Curry, and obviously Bjergsen's no longer with the team as coach as well. And then they also
Hmm.
have a guy or a person, sorry, for data science and analytics, as well as and oh, never mind, they have somebody who is a dedicated academy coach
Yeah.
here at the bottom. Um, I don't really have any comments for this unless you have something to say.
Yeah, I don't think so really. I think the only person who's new to this staff other than Chawi is the new academy coach, and it sounded like he was already doing like amateur coaching like for their in-house stuff that they had been running previously. So it's like a promotion for him more than anything. But the other guys were all there last year, just maybe in different like slightly different roles.
For sure, for sure. And then with the announcement of the TSM mid laner, we now have the nationalities of each mid laner in the LCS. There's now only three North American mid laners, with Ablaze Olive and Jojo Chun hailing from Canada, and Palafox being good old fashioned American. And then of course we also got Abadage and Power of Evil from Germany, I believe. Bjergsen and oh no, I guess it's just Bjergsen from Denmark. Fudge from Australia land, and Tukui from France. And then there's also Dignitas Blue, and I don't know what country he's from. Courtesy for Fion on Fire for putting that together. Do you miss
That's
Pogwelter already?
I do a little bit, but I feel like Pope is probably in a better space than being on CLG. So I feel good for him at the same time.
I think everyone can feel good about that.
What was that? That was the list of all the imports that we have now?
Origins of like the
Or
mid
that's mid
laners.
laners. That's mid
Yeah.
laners. So I gotcha. I gotcha. I was gonna say that sounded like a short list for just imports. Yeah.
No,
I
yeah,
mean,
it's just like a fun thing.
we've got a few. Like I feel like there's a few that are now like NA mids. We still got it's Pope. Missing Pope, but Pope used to be the only one, right? And then everybody else was imports. Now we get
Maybe
to
like
count.
Demonte and stuff like that.
Right. I feel like there was at least a year or two where he was literally the only one. Before Demonte, I think like the 2016, 2017 years.
I'd have to go back, but I could believe it. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, the years that like Froggen played and stuff like that. Probably every team had an import.
Yeah, but now we've got a Blaze and JoJo. I'm
More
excited.
youngins. Yeah.
Yeah, more youngins. Fudge in the mid lane, a native NA, mid laner Fudge. Hype.
Yeah. Other than that, it's a pretty snow news day as we're coming to the end of the year and the end of the off season as well. So we just have a couple of things to talk about here. They put out a change to teleport over on PBE where before 14 minutes you can only teleport to towers, and then after that you can start teleporting to like other stuff like minions, Jarvan flags, Zac blobs, whatever. What do you think about this proposed teleport change?
This one I'm probably biased as a bot laner,
Oh yeah.
but I think it's fine. Uh, I think it's good, to take away yeah, like those early fights that are just like, it's like I'm bot lane level 4, like we finally find a good all in, we have all our abilities, and then we're getting double TP'd on by top and mid, and then our top and mid double TP, right, and then it's a 4v4, like, and they have ultis, and I'm just like, man. I already had to blow heal or something, like I'm useless, whatever, and then we get fucked or we win. Like it takes away that, which I think is nice. I don't know, like having TP towers, it's like a little weird. I don't know. Teleport seems like it's such a hard thing for Riot to balance. Like every change has had to be like a little, what's the word? Like ham-fisted for whatever they want to do.
I'm not familiar with the term.
It's like you're trying to like use a ham to like punch something. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. But um like there's not a clean way to do it, right? Like it's not something that's like
Yeah.
super intuitive, but I think it does, it's definitely like a nerf. It's like a real nerf to teleport, which I think is fine. It might you know for some top laners it probably saves them because they won't like TP into a minion wave after they just died and then die again.
Hmm.
I don't know. The fact that it goes back after 14 minutes, like to just normal like teleport, seems like, are we really doing something here, or are we just like saving Reckless from having to fight 5v4s or 5v2s every time he goes for a trade?
Actually, the way that you phrase that, that's exactly how I feel about it. So here's my opinion. I'm kind of in agreement with you of like it sucks where it kind of feels like they're just forced to try to do something with teleport, and then this is just what they came up with. And I think it's fine. The way that it is, where it goes back to normal after 14 minutes, I feel like it doesn't gut or it doesn't like outright kill teleport or like make it terrible. I think it's fine. Or it's going to be fine, and I'm interested in this change because, you know, as a dirty TF player, it'll make me like it like really defines like how you should use your ulti and how you should use your teleport, and then like it'll feel nice because like if I ulti in onto something as TF, then I'm gonna be the only one there. There's not gonna be some other
Yeah,
person's TP to follow up, and then
right.
before 14 minutes, do not expect me to TP to your lane. That my TP is for my lane before 14 minutes, and
Except for
maybe
like dives, right? Like that's the situation where it's still like can be helpful. Like if you see
yeah.
someone getting dove, like if top lane is getting dove at like level 3 because the wave got bounced wrong, right? And so you've got like a top laner and a 2.5 stacked waves against a level 2 top laner and then the jungler's there too, right? Like that's a good point where you can still TP to help your side lanes, but I feel like that's better that it's a like defensive thing and like a real investment, right? Like you lose a lot of you know, your safety in lane, like you know, you can miss a lot of XP and stuff like that. Whereas before it was like, oh well, their mid laner is gonna, you know, teleport to the 3v1 dive now and force you to TP, otherwise, you know, your top laner is out of the game. Like now there's like you because there's no offensive power to it, like in the same way that you could before, like it's I like that you're still able to like help bail out people, but it's just there's less like unstoppable like strategies or uncounterable stuff without using your own TP now.
Yeah, you brought up a good point there. It's definitely this change is definitely going to simplify the complexity of early games and all of the different decision makings that you could do with a free roaming teleport per se. And I guarantee that every first teleport is just going to be used on your own tower, before five after like your first or second recall even. And so yeah, it is going to, you know, simplify the game state, so to speak, and simplify the decision tree for what to do with your teleport in the first 10 minutes of the game. It will do that, but it's going to be fine.
Right.
And
And I mean, and I don't think it's like I would push back that it's not like super like simplifying because in some ways the plays that you already made with teleport were pretty obvious, right? And especially the ones we saw in competitive, like that top lane dive, like that's fucking obvious, dude. Like if a top laner gets the good level 1 trade or whatever, it's so easy for them to get that stacked wave. And your mid laner that has TP and is gonna dive with it, it's like it's still an obvious play to do that, right? Like it's not hard for them to be like, oh yeah, I just cleared my wave and then I'll TP and we'll dive the guy, right? Like those are easy plays that should not be that easy. So I think that's fine to like remove that ability in that direction as well. Even though like now it's like, yeah, okay, if I'm just gonna TP to lane, like I'm just gonna TP to lane. Like that's all you have to do for the first 10 minutes or whatever.
yeah, and I'm fine with that as opposed to like taking ignite or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, all in favor, I guess.
Yeah, I think all in favor I, as long as it also means, you know, for the top lane people that are now going to be restricted to 1v1s, it means you don't get like exhaust veins in your top lanes. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad time. And then in some miscellaneous news, it looks like Team Liquid let go of Jensen from their organization, so he's now a true free agent with no buyout. Any thoughts on that? Teamless still,
um,
but any thoughts on
yeah,
that?
I don't think so. I don't know. Like it seems good for Jensen. You know, like at this point, I don't think it's gonna save him from anything, right? Like no team is. Every team has decided. No team is gonna just like be like, oh, why? Wait, Jensen is free now. I don't have to pay Steve, right? Right? Like I think teams have decided which way they're going to go with their rosters across the globe, kind of. And I imagine Jensen's not the player that's like, I'm going to go to a 10th place roster just because like now they can pay me, or I'm going to go to an academy team because that's the only place I'm going to play. Like I don't think he's going to do that. Um, so I imagine this just makes it easier for him, like if he can find a team in the off season, or like at summer split, like that's a easier thing for him. And if he wants to just go stream or do whatever, he can find a deal that makes it like, fits his desires as a streamer rather than having to just like work it into his existing TL deal or being in contract hell or something.
Yeah, that sounds kind of gross. Of like, I need to find an org to stream for the spring split. I don't know if I like the sound of that for Jensen, but yeah, I hope he gets to do what he wants to do, or maybe he just has to take a break for upcoming split and come
Yeah.
back for summer. Sounds like a
I
lot of
doubt he
players have to do that.
Yeah, I doubt he'd find like an org, but rather it'd be something like he already has an agent, right? Like if you have to make brand deals or whatever, like you can take those deals that are, streamer targeted rather than pro player targeted, where like the deliverables or something like you go and film, a commercial or shoots like that. Like, but instead it's like, okay, now you just have to stream with our banner on your stream for 15 hours or whatever a month. Like there, I'm sure that's different than what you have to do as a pro player in terms of the obligations.
Ah, so you'd like to play Raid Shadow Legends with my boy Jensen, would you?
Exactly,
I see where
exactly.
you're going with this. Yes, yes. Dignitas Blue is now official. Moving on. It doesn't look like Caedrel is going to be casting for the next year. Moving
That one
on.
seems weird. Did you see anything about that?
Okay. Honestly, I'm not very tuned in to whatever is going on there. I just saw one thing where like he tweeted in November that he excited to continue with his casting, and then suddenly last week or sometime in the last few days, um, which shows how important this is to me. I think he put out some sort of tweet that like it looks like he won't be casting, or it looks like what he said before is not going to be true. So that's what I know about it. Is there something more that you know about the whole situation?
I think I forget who it was that I read this from, but it sounded like it was something like Cagel was wanting to like somehow continue doing his like co-streaming stuff, or get co-streaming rights in some way so that he can like because he's gotten a big stream audience, right? Like he's been streaming really like consistently since Worlds and stuff. So I'm sure that that's like fruitful for him. So it sounded like he was trying to do something like I still want to cast LEC, but I want to do, my co-stream still and grow this part of my brand. And like Riot was like, no, you can't do that. Like if you're casting with us, like you're casting with us. There's no like taking away from the broadcast or whatever with your own personal stuff. But I saw today that he tweeted something like it's like seems like things might work out. Like it might not be as bad as I had thought, kind of thing. So I don't know what that means, whether that's like he's back on the broadcast or he got a good streamer deal or he's actually going to go be Vitality's coach or what, but we'll see.
Yeah. Hmm. I don't know if I'm really that interested,
That's fair.
but I mean, I definitely Riot should not let them be on the broadcast and then also co-stream. You know, like I feel like if you're working with us, you're working with us, kind of thing, and don't take away. Which I don't think it's the right thing, but I understand if that's Riot's policy. Whether or not
Yeah.
that's the right thing to do for casters or or broadcast talent with that are officially hired by Riot and aren't contractors like Shocks. Um, I'm not intelligent enough to participate in this conversation.
That's fair.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, I I understand why it is that way, but and it sucks that it is that way. If like for example, they can't have double lift on the LCS broadcast because he's too expensive and he doesn't think it's worth his time. And then Kajal would like to do co-streaming, but that means that then Riot doesn't want him on the main broadcast. And so I hope that they can work something out so that the people can be happy and then they can still have, their beloved quick shot Deficio, Caedrel, if possible, and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, there's just like conflicts of interest and then also just business sense that prevents all of these things from happening. Um, and yeah, I guess that's my take on it. But other than that, just work out what you want to do, man.
Yeah, that's kind of true. I imagine a lot of this too, like this whole thing feels like there's a lot we don't know around it, right? So
Yeah, it's pretty
it's hard to
vague.
comment on. Yeah.
Speaking of Vitality, they officially announced their roster, which is going to consist of Alfari, Selfmade, Perks, Karzi, and Labrov. And I think that's cool. Looks like a fine team to me.
Yeah, sounds pretty fucking good if you ask me. But yeah, we already knew about him too, so it's like hard. This is one of those surprise Pikachu moments. Like, oh yeah, wow, this is your roster. Who knew, man?
Yeah, who knew? Yeah, and that's it. I think most of the rosters around the world are now announced. I think there might still be some stuff going on in LPL. Oh, which speaking of which, I think I saw that the Shy is going to join Suning, now known as like Weibo Gaming or something like that. So looks like the Shy already found a home, and we'll just see where Rookie ends up.
Oh, I did just see that Sword Art is back to that Weibo gaming team too. So
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
yeah,
That's I
it
mean,
was like
good
within
for
the
him.
last hour. So yeah,
Damn. Okay. Yeah. Good for him. Good for him. Yeah, he got his payday, and then he's back where he belongs.
true.
And, um, I meant that in a friendly way, not a racist way,
Right, right.
or not a like a nationalist way.
Yeah, I got you.
I swear.
I know, I
Anyways,
got you. I believe you. I totally believe you.
yeah,
You taught me how to say the TSM players' names, so like I don't think
yeah.
you're trying to be
So I
racist, man.
can't be racist. I'm just kidding. And then the last thing in our news for this week is it looks like Crumbz is going to retire from the LCS scene. Um, just doesn't look like he wants to be in League of Legends at this time or maybe ever again.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't have much to say about that one either. I think like I feel like the last couple of years for Crumbs, even being on LCS, like when he was like felt almost like he wasn't like it did. I didn't get the feeling that this was like still what he really wanted to do. It was like I'm back casting like because he it felt like there was a year or two where he wasn't like right on like the main LCS stuff, and then he came back and it's like well now it just feels like this is what he wants to do because like he knows how to do it already and it's just like this is how I get my paycheck kind of thing. So I hope he finds, something that he is actually wanting to do nowadays that's, not just living off of his old league career.
Yeah, I hope he finds what he wants to do. I would say that I think I'm going to miss him, and I think he was doing weird stuff. Like he was casting academy games, I believe. I think he might have been casting some amateur stuff for the LCS. He was
Mhm.
doing analyst stuff, and then so I don't know if he was happy with what he was doing. And I think that I just want to say that like as we're losing more and more talent, more and more like old school talent from the old league days, um, and now they're just leaving the scene, so to speak. Like that's just a shame for me to see, and
Yeah.
that's just another recognized lame that we're losing from the LCS ecosystem to go on and do something else.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully, we've like as things continue to mature, that it just means that there's more spots for new people to do it, right? Like I feel like that's one of the things over the last year was like probably the first time that I watched more like academy games or like the amateur circuit stuff. And there's like listening to casters from there and analysts and on those broadcasts, like there's some good casters and analysts doing academy stuff. And so it seems like, the spots like this are good opportunities for those guys to move up, when before it was just like but yeah, Academy is just like what like Rivington has to do and Crumbs have to do like on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it's just like a fill spot for guys that are gonna do LCS stuff on the weekend anyway, right? So hopefully, hopefully this just means that more good people get to move into those roles too.
I can agree with that. Like Emily Ran.
True. All right, dude. Anything else you got? We've run through our topics.
No, I think that's it. I talked to you about this before we started, but I think that's going to be it for the year for On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. How do you feel, man? 40 episodes. We started right before February, right before the lock-in tournament. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, I feel good, dude. I'm glad we got to do all this. I'm surprised, I mean, 40 episodes later, and we're still talking about it. Couldn't be that bad, right?
No, yeah, it's cool. The way I think about it is, 40 individual times we like cleared out everything else that we could have been doing in our schedule, sat down for like 1 hour minimum every time,
Yeah,
and then we
just talked
banged it
about
out
League.
for for lack of a better term. And
Yeah,
we
yeah,
got
we
it done
banged
40
out. We
times.
definitely banged it
We
out,
banged
dude.
it out.
40 times. Damn. What a year. What a year it has been.
Yeah, what a year for North American League of Legends. What a year for On the Hunt, and hopefully there's more good things to come. And
Yeah.
we experienced it all, dude. We did the first ever lock-in tournament, spring split, spring playoffs, um, MSI. I'm glad there was a MSI this year. Right
Yeah.
into summer split, summer playoffs. We did the World Championship and the play-ins. And so, if there's anything I regret watching like 2 games of MSI. I could have done a better effort to watch more of those games. In fact, I think the whole like knockout portion of the like top 4, I didn't watch any of
Mhm.
those best of games. I might have caught like game 5 of one of the Damwon games, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to MSI and it seems so long ago. I feel like I must have watched some of the like Mad Damn One series. But yeah, I mean it's hard. I mean it's shit times, dude. We had it at Worlds too. Like what are they
That's
doing in
true.
Iceland?
Yeah. But speaking of Worlds, I do believe that they will be having that in North America next year. So we'll be eating good, and
True.
maybe we can even go. We'll see.
Maybe we'll do a live on the hunt podcast episode outside of the Worlds venue and they'll be like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah, and then we'll just get escorted off the premises for being creeps or something like that. I've never been to LCS, so I'd be down.
Yeah, dude, it's fun. I went to Worlds. I went to the last Worlds that was in NA. We went when it was in San Francisco to one of the group stage matches. It was I got to see TSM when they beat Samsung that year. It was like the first game where they beat Samsung, and I still remember the like the beginning of the game was where Svenskeren was playing Lee Sin against Elise, and he went into their like blue side jungle, like top blue side jungle, and was hiding in the tri-brush as Elise was coming up to like save his laner. And like he knew that he was there and he threw a cocoon into the bush to like try and scout it out. And then Svenskeren sidestepped it, and then Lee Sin just like one shot him as he walked up, and everybody like the whole crowd was going nuts, dude. It was hype.
Yeah, I would love to be there for like a moment like that of just the crowd going insane. I've only ever been to one live event. It was 2014, IEM San Jose 2014. I think it was like
And you were in the back of an odd one video, right?
yes, yes, and I think that was literally patch 4.20. And like Warwick happened to be OP on that patch.
Yeah, the
Um,
Weedwick patch.
um, it was when Unicorns of Love just promoted into the EU LCS, and then we were just seeing them come over to play before the year that they would play in the EU LCS, and then they just shit stomped TSM. With
Did you watch the? Did you get to see the TF Jungle game? Was that the one
Yes,
you saw?
yeah, I saw that one. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
so that was the tournament that I was at, and then Cloud9 won that one, I believe.
Yeah,
And that's the only live event I've ever been at.
damn. Yeah, hopefully you can get to go to Worlds now, dude. Now that it's close in our hometown, not our
True.
hometown, but our neck of the woods.
All right. And that's going to be it for episode 40 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you did, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on the service that you are listening to us on, if you haven't already subscribed. We'd appreciate it if you would also give us a rating or hit the like button to show some support. You can find us on YouTube as well as your podcast player of choice, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify and so forth. We'll see you all next year for another episode of On the Hunt.
See you next